prisoners. I'm going to tell you who those 3 prisoners are, why they were in prison. You know, we just had a guy last summer that they eventually released him. He went there for tourism. He tried to take a propaganda poster for a souvenir. Didn't get out with it, and they basically killed him. He died shortly after he got back because of the harsh treatment. Everybody says that the prison camps in North Korea are like Nazi concentration camps in World War II. Incredibly harsh treatment. And I'll just give you a little bit of a spoiler update. These 3 people who went there, who in one way or the other have Korean connections. They're American citizens, but they're Korean background and became American citizens. They went there to try to help. They went there to try to help them grow food. They went there to try to help in orphanages. One of them is a Christian who was trying to help in an orphanage and so forth. You can't help these people. It's kind of like trying to go to Islamic countries and trying to help the jihadis there, or just any Islamic country. You can't take the Red Cross there. You got to change it at least to the Red Crescent before you'll be allowed to help people, because their real issue is they don't want to help people. They want to control people. And so we have an update as well on the Alfie tyranny in the UK. You had a lot of people comment on Twitter about this. They said, oh, I love the national healthcare system in the UK, and it's free, and we don't have to pay for anything. I said, you don't understand what it costs you. First of all, if you think it's free, you don't have any idea what the dollar costs are. You just don't see it there. I was lectured once by a city council meeting that I went to. There was a city council woman in Raleigh, and she had just gotten back from Russia. This was before the fall of the Soviet Union, and she was so excited. I mean, it's where she needed to be. She needed to stay there, quite frankly. She was so excited. She said, we need a public transportation in Raleigh. Yeah, in Raleigh, like they've got in Moscow, where you can go anywhere in the city for just a nickel. And I said, you have no idea what the true cost of that transportation system is. But what it truly costs you is your liberty. And what we're talking about, and I mentioned it yesterday, I said it's not just a problem in the UK. It's a problem with government control of health care. And because when you give the government control of health care, to the degree that they have control, they always use it to take away your choice, your liberty, your freedom, your dignity. It isn't even about the money. I'm so sick and tired of Republicans and Democrats who just look at things from a standpoint of dollars and cents. It makes no sense to turn over your freedom to the government. And when the government has more control, as it does in a single-payer system, the more the government is involved in health care, the less you have control of your life. It's going to be rationed one way or the other. It's going to be rationed with dollars and cents. It's going to be rationed with lines. The people who love the national health care system ought to take a look at the fact that they had a lot of people, they just got their data mixed up. People who were diagnosed with cancer, they sent them a clean bill of health, and they didn't get any treatment and so forth. That's your government at work. If you don't like it, you can't go anywhere else. You will not be allowed to leave, even if you have another government trying to help you get out. We've seen that multiple times. Welcome on this Thursday, May the 3rd, 2018. I'm David Knight. We're going to be talking about Hillary Clinton calling herself a capitalist, Michelle Obama calling herself the forever First Lady. President in waiting is really more like the title that she has. We're going to talk about what's going on in North Korea. An ongoing tyranny in the case of Alfie. Now they're coming after people who tried to help the parents have a choice. The Italian government said, we'll let them come here. We've got some treatment for them, or you can decide where and how you want palliative care. It isn't even whether or not it is effective. People who make that argument don't understand the point. The point is, it is not these lawyers and judges' decision. It's the parents' decision. And you lose that ability to make that parental decision when you lose the control, as the government takes more and more control of health care. And it isn't simply a British problem. I think it's a bigger problem there. It's more systemic there because the government has more control. And if we go to a single-payer system here in the United States, the government will have more say-so over what kind of treatment you can get, where you can get it, whether you can get it. I mean, we have those kinds of controls already here in the United States. We have parents who want to take their kids out of cancer treatment, for example, or medically kidnapped. If they want to try an alternative treatment somewhere, they don't have the freedom to do that in many cases. We've seen medical kidnapping cases in Harvard. The case of Justina Pelletier, I think is the way you pronounce her last name, and Marty Gottesfeld, who is been in jail without bail, awaiting trial for over 2 years, a political prisoner. Why? Because he criticized a very powerful hospital, Boston's Children's Hospital, affiliated with Harvard University. You don't criticize them. You don't expose anything. And you don't get a trial. They just put you in jail like they did the Bundys because you criticize some very powerful people. If you want to take your kids somewhere, you can get where you can get medical marijuana treatment because they've got brain seizures that are uncontrollable with any other type of medication. CPS will come in and take your kid away. So we have those types of problems here. As the government intrudes itself further and further into our life, it isn't about whether or not the health care is free. It's whether or not you are free to make your own decisions. Health care will be rationed one way or the other. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about censorship issues. We're going to talk about what Rudy Giuliani said yesterday in terms of payments to Stormy Daniel. And this is, everybody is talking about what does this mean? So we're going to play the clips from Rudy Giuliani and talk about what that means. I think one of the most promising things to come out is President Trump tweeting yesterday that the system was rigged. He is tired of waiting for the Justice Department and the FBI to turn over files and information about what was going on with Hillary Clinton and others, files that have been subpoenaed but have been stonewalled. And so he said, you know what, I might just declassify this stuff myself. And he should. He declassified the House Intelligence Committee and their report, and he didn't have anything redacted, and we could see that there was absolutely no reason for that report to be classified as top secret, except to protect these people. And that is what we have throughout government, is rampant overclassification, not to protect national security, but to protect the job security of these bureaucrats and to keep them from going to jail or getting fired because they believe that they should be there permanently. But before we get into any of that, I think one of the key pieces of news that came out today was a new Project Veritas expose. We have a link to this up on Infowars.